What if your body already holds the key to reversing cellular aging? What if the only thing standing between you and activating it is what you eat? Right now, one of the most exciting molecules in longevity science is not a pharmaceutical drug. It is not a prescription compound. And it is not something reserved for billionaire biohackers. It is produced inside your own gut, from food you may already be eating. Scientists call it Urolithin A. Over the last several years, the research around this molecule has become some of the most compelling evidence we have ever seen. We are talking about evidence for directly slowing, and in some cases reversing, key mechanisms of cellular aging. We are talking about studies published in Nature Aging. We are talking about clinical trials involving over 2,000 participants. We are talking about a landmark collaboration between Swiss biotech researchers and EPFL, one of the world's top science institutions. And now, luxury brands like Lancome are incorporating it into their most advanced anti-aging product lines. Launching in March 2026. This is not a trend that is coming. It is already here. If you have not heard of Urolithin A yet, you are about to understand why the longevity world cannot stop talking about it. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, this is your home for honest, science-backed longevity and biohacking content. No hype, no pseudoscience, just research that genuinely helps you live better and longer. If that is what you are looking for, hit subscribe right now. Tap the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And share this video with someone who cares about their health. What we cover today could genuinely change how you think about aging at the cellular level. Let us get into it. To understand why Urolithin A is such a big deal, we need to start with a concept at the very heart of biological aging. That concept is mitochondrial decline. Your mitochondria are the tiny powerhouses inside every cell of your body. They generate the energy currency called ATP. That ATP fuels every function you perform, from breathing and thinking to exercise and immune response. When you are young and healthy, your mitochondria are abundant, efficient, and constantly renewing themselves. But as you age, something starts to go wrong. Damaged, dysfunctional mitochondria begin to accumulate. Instead of being cleared out and replaced by healthy new ones, they linger. They produce less energy. They generate more oxidative stress. And they trigger inflammation that damages surrounding cells. This process is not just a side effect of aging. It is one of the primary drivers of aging itself. The cellular cleanup process that prevents this accumulation is called mitophagy. Think of it as a form of cellular recycling. Your body identifies damaged mitochondria, breaks them down, and recycles their components to build fresh, functional ones. Think of mitophagy as your body's internal maintenance crew. When this crew is working properly, your cells stay young, energized, and resilient. When it slows down, and it does slow down as we age, cellular dysfunction accelerates. Energy production drops, inflammation rises. And the biological age of your tissues climbs faster than your chronological age. Urolithin A is the most potent natural activator of mitophagy that researchers have yet identified. And that is exactly why the longevity science world is paying very close attention. Here is something that surprises most people when they first learn about urolithin A. It does not come directly from any food. You cannot eat it off a shelf. You cannot find it listed as an ingredient on a nutrition label. Instead, it is produced inside your gut. Specific strains of gut bacteria synthesize it when they metabolize a class of plant compounds called elagitannins and ellagic acid. These precursor compounds are found in certain foods. We are talking about pomegranates, walnuts, pecans, chestnuts, strawberries, blackberries, and raspberries. When the right bacteria in your gut break down these compounds, urolithin A is the result. This gut-mediated production process is where the story gets both fascinating and critically important. Not everyone can make urolithin A efficiently, or at all. Research shows the human population divides into 3 metabolic groups based on gut microbiome composition. The first group are strong producers. They convert elagitannins to urolithin A effectively when they eat the right foods. The second group are weak producers. They generate only small amounts. The third group are non-producers. Some studies estimate this group to be as high as 40% of the general population. Their gut bacteria simply lack the enzymatic machinery to complete the conversion. It does not matter how many pomegranates they eat. This is critically important for a practical reason. For a large portion of the population, diet alone cannot reliably raise urolithin A levels. This also explains why researchers invested so heavily in developing a supplemental form. They needed a highly pure, bioavailable version that bypasses the gut conversion step entirely. That form is called Mitopure. It was developed by the Swiss biotech company Timeline, in collaboration with EPFL. It is the only clinically validated urolithin, a supplement currently on the market. It is backed by over 15 years of research and more than 11 completed human clinical trials. Once urolithin A enters your system, whether from your gut or a supplement, it travels to your cells. There, it activates a key biological pathway involving proteins called PAIK1 and parkin. These proteins act as quality control sensors on your mitochondria. When a mitochondrion becomes damaged or loses its membrane potential, PAIK1 accumulates on its surface. Then it recruits parkin. Together, they tag the damaged mitochondrion for removal by the cell's recycling machinery. Without urolithin A, this process becomes sluggish with age. With urolithin A, it is reactivated. The cleanup crew gets back to work. Damaged mitochondria are cleared. Newer, healthier ones take their place. The downstream effects of this mitochondrial renewal touch every system in the body. When your mitochondria function better, your cells produce more ATP. That means more energy at the fundamental biological level. Your muscles perform more efficiently and recover faster. Your immune cells, which are extraordinarily energy dependent, function with greater precision. Your neurons are better protected against oxidative stress and inflammatory damage. The cascade of benefits from healthier mitochondria is why urolithin A is attracting attention beyond fitness. It is being studied as a genuine whole body longevity intervention. It is also worth understanding what makes urolithin A different from antioxidants. Antioxidants neutralize free radicals after they are produced. That is a reactive, downstream approach. Urolithin A works upstream. it improves the quality and efficiency of the very mitochondria that generate and manage oxidative stress in the first place. Think of it as the difference between mopping up water after a leak versus fixing the pipe itself. This distinction is one of the reasons longevity researchers place Urolithin A in a different category entirely from traditional supplements, like vitamin C or resveratrol. Let us move from mechanism to evidence. In longevity science, mechanism alone is never enough. The history of this field is full of compounds that looked extraordinary in cell cultures and animal models, only to fail in human trials. Urolithin A is notable precisely because it has gone through rigorous human clinical testing. The results have been published in top-tier peer-reviewed journals. Here is what that evidence actually shows. One of the foundational human trials was published in Nature Metabolism. It was a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study, the gold standard of clinical research. Participants received either 500 milligrams or 1,000 milligrams of Mitochondria daily, or a placebo, after 4 months. Those in the Urolithin A groups showed significant improvements in mitochondrial gene expression in muscle tissue. This is a direct molecular indicator of enhanced mitophagy and mitochondrial biogenesis. Crucially, the improvements were dose-dependent. Both doses were safe and well tolerated. No serious adverse events were reported. A subsequent clinical trial focused on muscle health in older adults. This is one of the most practically important outcomes in longevity medicine. Muscle mass and strength decline with age in a process called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is one of the strongest predictors of disability, falls, hospitalization, and mortality in later life. In this trial, adults over 65 took 1,000 milligrams of Urolithin A daily for 4 months. They showed significant improvements in muscle endurance, specifically in the number of hand grip repetitions they could perform, compared to the placebo group. They also improved on the 6-minute walk test. This is a validated measure of overall physical function and cardiovascular fitness. These are clinically meaningful outcomes in a population where maintaining muscle function is a matter of life and functional independence. A landmark study, published in Nature Aging in 2020, examined Urolithin A's effects on immune aging. Researchers call this phenomenon immunosenescence. As we age, our immune cells gradually become less effective and more inflammatory. This immune decline increases susceptibility to infections, reduces vaccine efficacy, and elevates chronic inflammation. In this trial, 50 healthy middle-aged adults received either 1,000 milligrams of Urolithin A or a placebo daily for 28 days. At the end of the trial, the Urolithin A group showed measurable improvements in biomarkers linked to immune aging and inflammaging. The trial was short in duration, but the effect sizes were meaningful, and the biological plausibility is strong. In athletic performance research, a 2020 clinical trial involving elite endurance runners evaluated Urolithin A's impact on performance and recovery. Direct performance gains were modest. However, researchers found meaningful improvements in mitochondrial biomarkers and recovery indicators. This suggests that even in highly trained individuals, Urolithin A may add an additional layer of cellular optimization. A separate study in young soccer players found statistically significant improvements in aerobic performance after 6 weeks of supplementation with 1,000 milligrams daily during preseason training. Looking ahead, the clinical pipeline is expanding rapidly. In 2026, results are expected from the largest Urolithin A clinical trial ever conducted. This 650 participant study is examining brain health outcomes. It is particularly significant, given the growing preclinical evidence, that Urolithin A may protect neurons through mitophagy activation. Additional trials are exploring its potential as an adjunct to cancer immunotherapy. The science is young in some of these areas, but the mechanistic rationale is rigorous, and the early signals are compelling. The mitochondrial story is where Urolithin A starts. But the more you follow the science, the clearer it becomes that mitochondrial health is not a single domain. It is the central hub connecting virtually every system involved in how we age. When you optimize mitophagy and restore mitochondrial quality, the benefits ripple outward across the entire body. In this segment, we explore 3 of the most exciting frontiers. Those frontiers are brain longevity, cardiovascular health, and immune aging. Let us start with the brain. For most people, cognitive decline is the form of aging they fear most. The human brain consumes roughly 20% of the body's total energy output. Yet it represents only about 2% of total body mass. Neurons, the cells responsible for thought, memory, movement, and emotion, have among the highest mitochondrial density of any cell type. Their energy demands are extreme. When mitochondrial quality declines in neurons, the consequences are severe. Synaptic plasticity is reduced. Vulnerability to oxidative damage increases. Toxic protein aggregates accumulate, including amyloid, beta and alpha-synuclein. These are the hallmarks of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Preclinical research published in 2020 found that Urolithin A supplementation in animal models reduced anxiety-like behavior significantly. It also improved synaptic function and restored neurochemical balance in regions associated with mood and cognition. The researchers traced these benefits to Urolithin A's activation of mitophagy in brain tissue. Dysfunctional mitochondria were cleared. Healthier neurons could operate at a higher level. These are animal studies, and human clinical trials in brain health are still forthcoming. But the mechanistic case is strong. The 650-person brain health trial, expected to report in 2026, is highly anticipated by the research community. The cardiovascular implications are equally compelling. Heart muscle cells, called cardiomyocytes, are among the most mitochondria-dense cells in the entire body. The heart never stops beating. It requires a continuous and enormous supply of ATP. A preclinical study published in Science in 2020 found that Urolithin A supplementation in animal models of heart failure led to improved ejection fraction. The heart pumped blood more effectively. Diastolic function also improved, reflecting better relaxation between beats. These findings point to a potential role for Urolithin A in supporting cardiac resilience as the heart ages. From an anti-inflammatory standpoint, the evidence is also encouraging. A 2021 review compiled findings from multiple animal studies. Urolithin A consistently inhibited neuroinflammation across different experimental models. Chronic neuroinflammation is one of the primary mechanisms linking mitochondrial dysfunction to cognitive decline and neurodegenerative disease. By restoring mitochondrial health in immune cells within the brain, Urolithin A appears to reduce this neuroinflammatory cascade at its source. It is not simply blocking downstream inflammatory signals. It is addressing the upstream cause. On the systemic immune aging front, the implications extend beyond infection resistance and vaccine efficacy. Immune cells called T cells, natural killer cells, and macrophages all rely heavily on mitochondrial function. They need it for activation, proliferation, and the precision of their responses. As their mitochondria age and decline, these cells become sluggish and dysregulated. They become more prone to secreting inflammatory signals that accelerate aging throughout the body. Urolithin A's ability to rejuvenate mitochondrial quality in these immune cell populations may represent a fundamentally new approach to slowing immune aging. The thread connecting all of these domains is the same. Mitochondria are not just energy producers. They are central regulators of cellular fate, inflammatory signaling, protein quality control, and epigenetic programming. When you optimize mitochondrial health system wide, you are not addressing one aspect of aging. You are intervening at one of its deepest root causes. We have covered the science thoroughly. Now let us talk about what this actually means for you. We need to be practical, honest, and specific. Because as exciting as the research on Urolithin A is, there are important questions around dosing, sourcing, cost, and lifestyle integration that you need to understand before changing your routine. First, the question of food versus supplementation. If you are a strong Urolithin A producer, a diet consistently rich in pomegranates, walnuts, berries, and other elagitonin containing foods can meaningfully contribute to your Urolithin A levels. This is always the best starting point. Food-based sources come with a full spectrum of polyphenols, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. These compounds amplify each other's benefits in ways that supplements cannot fully replicate. For someone eating a diverse, plant-rich diet with a healthy gut microbiome, food-based optimization is a legitimate and powerful longevity strategy. However, there is an important qualification here. Research suggests that up to 40% of people are non-producers. Even among producers, output can vary dramatically. Factors like microbiome diversity, age, antibiotic use history, and dietary consistency all play a role. There is currently no widely available commercial test to determine which group you fall into. If you eat a reasonably plant-rich diet and want to ensure meaningful Urolithin A exposure, supplementation becomes a practical consideration. The clinically validated dose used in most human trials is 500 to 1,000 milligrams per day. The 1,000 milligram dose has been associated with the strongest outcomes in muscle endurance and immune aging studies. When choosing a supplement, careful navigation is required. The only form of Urolithin A backed by rigorous, published human clinical trials is Mitopure, developed by Timeline. This distinction matters enormously. The supplement industry is full of products that reference Urolithin A research conducted with Mitopure. while selling cheaper, unvalidated forms of the compound. Purity, particle size, and bioavailability vary significantly across manufacturers. Without clinical validation specific to the product you are buying, you cannot assume it behaves the way the published research describes. This is not a knock on all other brands. It is simply an honest acknowledgement of where the evidence currently sits. Cost is a real factor worth addressing honestly. MitoPure supplementation runs approximately $60 to $80 per month for the 500 mg daily dose. The 1000 mg dose costs more. This is not inexpensive. If budget is a constraint, prioritizing dietary sources is a rational strategy. Eat pomegranate seeds or drink unsweetened pomegranate juice daily. Include walnuts and mixed berries in your regular rotation. This approach cannot guarantee the same circulating levels as direct supplementation, but it is a meaningful and evidence-adjacent starting point. The safety profile of Urolithin A is reassuring. Across all published human clinical trials to date, it has been well tolerated. No serious adverse events have been reported. No significant drug interactions have been identified. As with any supplement, if you are on medication or have a chronic health condition, discuss it with your physician first. It is not recommended during pregnancy or breastfeeding due to insufficient safety data in those populations. Now, let us place Urolithin A in its proper context within a longevity framework. No supplement, however compelling the science, replaces foundational lifestyle behaviors. Exercise remains the single most powerful stimulus for mitophagy and mitochondrial biogenesis. A single session of moderate intensity aerobic exercise activates mitophagy more powerfully than any supplement currently known. Resistance training preserves and builds muscle mass, the most powerful predictor of long-term functional independence. Sleep is when mitophagy is most active throughout the body. A diet rich in polyphenols and diverse plant compounds supports the gut microbiome that produces urolithin A naturally. Chronic stress and sleep deprivation impair mitophagy, regardless of what you supplement with. Urolithin A is best understood as a powerful complement to these foundations. It maintains and enhances mitophagy signaling in the periods between exercise sessions. It supports cellular quality control in tissues that benefit from continuous maintenance. And it may push your cellular health beyond what lifestyle alone can achieve, especially as your body's natural mitophagy signaling gradually declines with age. Your practical action plan is straightforward. Start with your diet. Add pomegranate, mixed berries, and walnuts to your regular rotation. Optimize your gut microbiome by eating a diverse, fiber-rich, fermented food-inclusive diet. Prioritize resistance training at least 3 days per week. Get regular aerobic exercise. Because exercise is the most powerful mitophagy activator we know. If you want to explore supplementation, start with 500 mg per day of a clinically validated form. Track how you feel over 6 to 8 weeks. Consider getting longevity biomarkers tested before and after to assess objective changes. The bottom line is this: Urolithin A represents something genuinely rare in the supplement world. It has a clear mechanism, rigorous clinical validation, and a growing body of evidence connecting it to outcomes that matter deeply for how we age. It is not magic. It is not a substitute for the lifestyle foundations that underpin longevity. But, for those serious about optimizing their cellular health from the inside out, it belongs in the conversation. The research is accelerating. The clinical trials are expanding. And, by the end of 2026, we will know significantly more about its potential for brain health, immune resilience, and cardiovascular protection. Thank you so much for watching all the way through today. If this video gave you real value, please like it and share it with someone who cares about their health. Subscribe if you have not already. Drop a comment below telling me whether you have tried Urolithin A or whether you are thinking about it. I read every single comment, and I want to hear from you. See you in the next one.